not. Sorry that you're not. Sorry that you're not.
Welcome back to the Win Big Sports Talk Sports Betting Podcast. I can't believe it's already football season. That was fast. Reach out to our contact page, WBSNsports.com, to sponsor the podcast. You can also find up-to-the-minute highlights, rumors, and news on sports. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at WBSN Sports. Subscribe to our podcast feed on Spotify and Anchor FM. I'm Gabriel Schry, host of the Win Big Sports Podcast, back with another year of free picks and betting talk. Tune in, Spotify, Anchor, WBSNsports.com, 105.3 Power Radio, 96.9 Fresh Air Radio. Cut out the middleman, head right to our YouTube channel and watch the podcast for yourself. It's a good one. Always got lots of fun little things going on visually with the podcast as well, so you definitely don't want to miss any of that if you can avoid missing it. We're going to jump right into it with college football predictions for 2023. An early top 25. Georgia clearly has shown its dominance by defeating TCU to win the college football playoff national championship. Back-to-back CFB titles places them in an elite group. The Bulldogs are the first team to win consecutive championships since Alabama did it in the 2011 and 2012 seasons. The big question now, can Georgia win a third consecutive title? The last time this happened was when Minnesota won 3 titles in a row in 1934, 1935, and 1936. Georgia could very well start its quest for a third title at the top of the rankings. That's what I'm thinking. Georgia playing without their Heisman finalist Stetson Bennett. Coach Kirby Smart will lead the way, and the team is expected to remain strong in the SEC and nationally. Carson Beck might be the one to watch, no matter who becomes a starting quarterback. Bulldogs have a strong running back lineup and support from tight end Brock Bowers, a great set of wideouts. Dumas Johnson is back on the defense, and he's expected to be a standout. So I think UGA will be top-notch. I'm looking at number 1 entering the season. I think they're going to have a great year. Michigan football, 13-1 last season, lost in the college football playoff semifinal. Even with consecutive losses in the CFP semifinals, the Wolverines have recently had the upper hand against Ohio State. Michigan is aiming for a third straight conference title in 23 and hopes to make it to the CFP championship game. On offense, J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, the ones to watch. Defensive back Wilt Johnson with his 3 interceptions, a potential sophomore All-America contender. Their rank largely depends on Coach Jim Harbaugh's leadership. Ohio State 11-2. Lost in the college football playoff semifinals with a record of 45 wins and 6 losses. Ryan Day is under pressure after back-to-back losses to Michigan and a loss to Georgia in the CFP semifinals. Even if C.J. Stroud doesn't play, Ohio State is expected to score big, especially with wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., 1,200 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns last season. Alabama 11-2. They won the Sugar Bowl. A strong performance against K-State in the Sugar Bowl. A great send-off for Bryce Young and his team. But for many, a season under Nick Saban without an SEC or national championship might feel a bit lacking. Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson are the likely contenders for the starting QB spot. And remember, this is still the Alabama team that everyone knows. Penn State, they went 11-2 last season. They were Rose Bowl champions. Sean Clifford concluded his impressive career with a standout performance in the Rose Bowl, setting the stage for the highly anticipated recruit. Dynamic running backs, Nick Singleton had 1,000 yards and Ketron Allen had 867 yards. They're ready to step up in their sophomore's year. Going to avoid that slump, at least they're hoping, for the Nittany Lions. DC Manny Diaz is leading the defense and expect them to remain among the best in all of Division I college football. LSU, they went 10-4 last season. They were the Citrus Bowl champions. In Brian Kelly's first season, LSU notched significant wins over Alabama and clinched a dominant bowl victory. However, they also had tough losses to teams like Tennessee and Georgia. The Tigers have stars on both sides of the ball, including Jaden Daniels, who passed for nearly 3,000 yards, had 900 rushing yards, 28 total touchdowns. Harold Perkins Jr., who had 72 tackles, 7.5 sacks. LSU's opener against Florida State is a must-watch, especially since Florida State took the win in 2022. Florida State, speak of the devil, went 10-3 last season, and they were the champions of the Cheez-It Bowl. From a challenging 3-6 record in the COVID-affected season to 5-7-21, the Seminoles made a big leap in Mike Norville's third year, winning their last 6 games. A lot of the excitement comes from quarterback Jordan Travis, who threw for 3,200 yards, 31 total touchdowns. Key matchups against LSU, Clemson, and Florida will be crucial in determining their season's success. USC, 11-3 last season. They lost in the Cotton Bowl. They were close to the CFB, but suffered losses against Utah in the Pac-12 championship and then Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. For USC to be seen as a true national championship contender, their defense, they need to step up. The good news, Heisman-winning quarterback Caleb Williams is returning, boasting impressive stats with 4,500 passing yards, 382 rushing yards, and 52 total touchdowns. That is nothing to joke about. 52 touchdowns. Washington, the Huskies, 11-2 last season. They won the Alamo Bowl. Michael Penix Jr. is returning. Washington is a top contender for a Pac-4 title, Pac-2, Pac-something title. After coming up with 4,600 passing yards, he's entering 2023 with eyes on the Heisman. Can the Huskies replicate what USC nearly did, featuring a Heisman-winning quarterback in the CFP? I guess we'll find out. TCU, they went 13-2 last season, lost in the College Football Playoff National Championship. The loss to Georgia is a blow, but it doesn't overshadow the fantastic season by Sonny Dykes in his first year. Quarterback Max Duggan at the helm, TCU had several close wins, skyrocketing from being unranked to the number 2 spot. Some top players might be NFL bound, but Dykes is active in the transfer market. This ranking might be on the conservative side. They could do even better than where I've put them in this list. Tennessee, the Volunteers. I'm a little biased, so maybe I'm thinking too highly of Tennessee and Big Orange, but I live in Southeast Tennessee. Very fun to be here and watch Volunteer football. Hendon Hooker's gone. He's in Detroit, Michigan, the Detroit Lions. The Volunteers are hopeful after Joe Milton's performance in the Orange Bowl. He threw for 251 yards and 3 touchdowns. There's buzz about another potential Heisman-worthy quarterback emerging under Josh Heupel. The team continues to recruit well, and if their defense steps up, they could challenge Georgia for the SEC East title. It'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out this season. There's not quite anything like SEC country in the fall. Notre Dame, they went 9-4 last season. They did win the Gator Bowl. They had a rocky 0-2 start, but the Irish rallied, handing Clemson their first loss, briefly breaking into the top 15, and then sealing a win against the rising South Carolina in the bowl game. The addition of Sam Hartman, who's transferring from Wake Forest, adds to the excitement for 2023. Under Marcus Freeman's second year as head coach, and with Hartman's impressive 76 touchdowns in 2 seasons, key games against USC, Clemson, and Ohio State are the ones to watch for the Irish. Clemson Clemson. An 11-3 season last year, lost in the Orange Bowl, took back their ACC champion title, but a late season loss to rivals South Carolina halted their hopes for the playoffs. You know, the starting quarterback, Cade, and running back Will Shipley, they're gearing up for a big year. On defense, keep an eye on Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and we'll see. You know, Clemson could have a big year. Hard to tell at this point. Texas, they went 8-5 last season, lost in the Alamo Bowl. I know I've heard the Texas is back joke 100,000 times, right? Everybody's heard it. Every year I think Texas is going to pop off and they'll be good forever, especially with NIL. You know, now you've got the bigger alumni base, the more engaged fan base for the football team, the more resources that are going to have to pull from to recruit guys. Texas is a program that's going to get big and stay big. The Longhorns showed moments of greatness, challenged top-ranked Alabama last season, beat Kansas State on the road. Bigger things are expected in Steve Sarkisian's third year. Even though Bijan Robinson has moved on, Quinn Ewers is back, and the highly touted Arch Manning is joining the roster. Texas has had a series of close losses. Turning those around is key to regaining their top-tier status. Can they do it? It's hard to say. You know, I think they're going to have a good year, but it's very difficult to predict how well they'll do. I think they're top 25 to open the season, and I think they're going to hang around there the entire duration of the season. Tulane, 12-2. They won the Cotton Bowl. Green Wave shaping up to be a contender in the AAC. Running back Tyjae Spears, who had a 205-yard game against USC, is heading to the NFL. Michael Pratt, who threw for 3,000 yards, rushed for nearly 500, and scored 37 touchdowns, is back for more. Green Wave, gotta love that. Texas Tech went 8-5, won the Texas Bowl. Joey McGuire's first season, the Red Raiders finished strong. They won their last 4 games, beating both Texas and Oklahoma. Tyler, the quarterback, is back. There's an exciting matchup against his former team, Oregon and the Ducks, in Week 2. This game could set the tone for Texas Tech's 2023 season. Kansas State went 10-4, lost in the Sugar Bowl. After a surprise win over TCU to take the Big 12 title, the Wildcats have proven their worth. Even with star Deuce Vaughn, he had 1,600 rushing yards last season, 9 touchdowns, going to the NFL. Chris Gleeman might not be wise. Quarterback Will Howard is back. K-State has the tools to compete for another conference title here, though. Their defense is expected to remain resilient. It'll be interesting to see how they pull it all together. Iowa, the Hawkeyes, 8-5 last season, won the Music City Bowl. If their offense can improve even slightly, they're in the running for the Big Ten West title. Given that they averaged just over 18 points and around 252 yards per game last year and still managed 8 wins, there's a lot of upside. Cade McNamara from Michigan might take the lead. They'll miss standout Jack Campbell on defense. Defensive back Cooper Jean, with his 5 interceptions, is back. Iowa's looking like they're going to have a good year. If Cade McNamara can bring the hype, if he lives up to the hype, it's a good year for Iowa. Only if he can live up to it, though. North Carolina, the Tar Heels, 9-5, lost in the Holiday Bowl. Starting outside the top 25, the Tar Heels climbed to the CFP's top 15 before dropping their last 4 games. With Drake May, he had 4,300 passing yards, 45 total touchdowns last season. He's coming back. UNC's offense is ready to score big. Their progress largely depends on strengthening their defense. They can do that. Big season in the wings. Wisconsin, 7-6 last season, won the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Brought in Luke Fickell from Cincinnati after his impressive 57-18 record with the Bearcats. Given their history, a strong defense is expected in the competitive Big Ten West. Former UNC offensive coordinator Phil Longo is now the Badgers OC. A return to double-digit wins will hinge on the performance of the offense. Ole Miss went 8-4 last season, lost that Texas Bowl, peaked at number 7 before losing 5 of their last 6 games. Running back Quinshon Judkins and a strong offensive line will back up quarterback Jackson Dart. The defense really needs to step it up. Competing in the same division as powerhouses like Alabama and a rising LSU, going to be a challenge. And without a solid defense and some contributions from all around the field, going to be unable to hang. We'll see if they get it or not. UTSA won 11-3, lost in the Cure Bowl. Roadrunner dominated CUSA play and were just one bowl win away from retaining their top 25 rank at the end of the season. Quarterback Frank Harris had over 4,000 passing yards. Franklin, the receiver, is back. He had 1,100 receiving yards. Barnes is back at running back, had 845 yards as a freshman. The move to the AAC marks a new beginning for UTSA. That's it. Those are my college football picks. I think those are some good ones. I had a lot of fun delivering them, and I hope you enjoyed them as well. Without further ado, we're going to move right into NFL football picks. Got a lot for you here. That did not sound as cool as I thought it would. I had that all planned out, and I was like, this is going to sound really cool. That did not sound cool. American Football Conference will start with the AFC East, and the Buffalo Bills went 13-3 last season, fell in the AFC Divisional. After 2 playoff runs, they faced pressure for a Super Bowl win. The dynamic between Allen and Diggs is key, especially given the tension last season. New additions like Dalton Kincaid, Rousseau show promise, but coming back and being able to rush and defend the pass, those concerns persist for the Bills. Their challenging late season matchups against the Chiefs, Cowboys, and Patriots are a little worrisome. They might finish 11-6, 12-5. I'd say they're going to earn a wild card spot, but once they're in, as far as the fans and franchise are concerned, they got to win some football games in the playoffs. We'll see if they can do it. Miami Dolphins went 9-8 last season, fell in the AFC wild card. The Fins are emerging as strong contenders in the East. I predict they'll be close on the heels of the Bills, especially if their roster lives up to its potential. The New England Patriots went 8-9 last season. They missed the playoffs. The Patriots, with Mac Jones, are poised for a bounce back. However, in a competitive AFC East, they'll need to be their best to climb the standings. As you can see, they're making moves to try and make that happen. We'll see if they can pull it all together. New York Jets, 7-10 last season. They missed the playoffs. The Jets made a lot of different moves. They acquired Rodgers, obviously. They're expected to improve. The real challenge will be translating potential and some dollars into some wins on the turf. Can they do it? To the AFC North, we'll get started with the Cincinnati Bengals, who went 12-4 last season, fell in the AFC Championship. Joe Burrow's MVP caliber performance and Jamar Chase leading the offense. The Cincinnati Bengals are back and they're contenders again. Their defense aided by coordinator Lue. His strategies are so good and it complements their powerful offense so well. Their key to success lies in staying injury-free, especially for the quarterback Burrow. Winning crucial moments will be pivotal. The Bengals are favorites for the AFC North title and have a Super Bowl appearance in their sights. The Baltimore Ravens, they went 10-7, fell in the AFC wildcard. Lamar Jackson is back. The Ravens are strong contenders in the AFC North. The addition of Zay Flowers could boost their offense, but their defense needs to step up to match their past glory. The Pittsburgh Steelers went 9-8. They missed the playoffs last season. They're ready for a promising 2023 campaign. They've got Kenny Pickett, their first-round quarterback draft pick. Last year, he was in the starting role early on. The team managed an above 500 record despite missing the playoffs. An elite defense will back him up. The Steelers have kept Mike Tomlin's streak of above 500 seasons intact. The vibes around the team are optimistic as they're heading into this new season with Pickett returning and most of the defense returning. The Steelers have strengthened their offensive line with the addition of Isaac Samalo and tackle Broderick Jones. Trading for Allen Robinson offers an exciting offensive boost. The defense is also focused on improving the secondary with players like Joey Porter Jr., Patrick Peterson, Keanu Neal, Bell and DeMonte Kazee. Linebackers like Cole Holcomb and Roberts add potential defensive enhancements as well. Analyzing the Steelers' 2023 schedule, early momentum is possible due to a lighter start. The latter part of the season presents challenges, but off-season improvements should help them manage. Expect Kenny Pickett to benefit from a reinforced offensive line and just better overall synergy with his receivers. Najee Harris also has a bright outlook. An 11-6 prediction for 2023 from me. The Steelers could be a tough contender in the postseason. We'll see. Cleveland Browns, 7-10 last season. They missed the playoffs. The Browns face uncertainty. Deshaun Watson's performance, a rocky 2022. Defensive reinforcements like Tomlinson and a robust offensive line back, they'll be helpful for Watson. Star running back Nick Chubb, going to be very important for Watson. Success hinges on Watson's return, and can he get back to form? And what will the defense's synergy be like under Jim Schwartz? Playoff contention is possible, but Watson's consistency will be the determining factor. Now to the AFC South. Jacksonville Jags, 9-8 last season, fell in the divisional. The Jags are favorites after a promising season. They're predicted to maintain their form, but they'll need to be wary of teams like the Texans. Tennessee Titans, they face the 2023 season with both caution and hope. They went 7-10 last season, missed the playoffs. They've got a challenging season ahead. Most are predicting that they will struggle. There are concerns about the offense, especially after a 7-game losing streak in 22. The returning duo of quarterback Tannehill and Derrick Henry offers some hope, but the team's offensive balance and Henry's durability are in question. The defense excelled against the run last season, but faltered against the pass. Cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting's addition is a positive, but draft decisions raised concerns. The Titans have one of the league's easiest schedules. Key matchups against the Texans, Colts, and the NFC South could be pivotal if they can tackle the challenges of the AFC North and secure wins against the Chargers and Dolphins. Playoff contention might be within reach, but success largely will depend on core player health and coaching strategies. The Indianapolis Colts, 4-12-1, missed the playoffs. They face a mixed season. Potential changes at quarterback and hopes pinned on a rebound from Jonathan Taylor. They've got a lot of things to address, and it's hard to call where they're going to land. It's another tough one. Houston Texans, they've got C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson. They could challenge the Jags. Their success is going to depend on how these new players fit into the fold and how their offense all wrinkles together as a whole. AFC West time. Who we got first? It's the Kansas City Chiefs. They went 14-3 and won the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have set the Chiefs up for another dominant season. Even without Tyreek Hill, Mahomes is thriving with support from emerging talents. I think he's bringing that out in them. I always think it's funny, these teams keep finding these great receivers. Where are they coming from? It's the quarterbacks. They're, and it's two ways, right? It's sometimes it's the guys, sometimes it's the pass throwers, but I really think that guys like Patrick Mahomes just bring it out in these guys, and it's key. Travis Kelce's long-term performance are being overshadowed by a solid offensive line and a stellar defense. A deep playoff run, potentially leading to another Super Bowl victory, seems probable for the Kansas City Chiefs. The LA Chargers went 10-7 last season, fell in the AFC wildcard. With a skilled roster back in place, experts forecast the Chargers will give the Chiefs a run for the AFC West title. Should Justin Herbert and Joey Bosa consistently deliver, this might be the Chargers' standout year. The Vegas Raiders went 6-11, missed the playoffs last season. The Raiders anticipate challenges in a very competitive AFC. While they're bursting with potential, consistency will be key in enhancing their playoff prospects. The Denver Broncos went 5-12, missed the playoffs last season. They present a team of intrigue this season under Sean Payton's direction with a potential of improvements all around the roster. They're geared up to rival the top-tier teams in the AFC West. All right, this is it. We're going to the National Football Conference in the NFC East, where we'll start with the Philadelphia Eagles. Went 14-3 last season, clinched the division and home field advantage. Jalen Hurts' rise has placed the Philly Eagles firmly among Super Bowl contenders. New additions like A.J. Brown, combined with a robust defense, anchored by Reddick and Fletcher Cox, solidify their strength. Howie Roseman has artfully crafted this roster for the challenges ahead, and they seem poised for another successful season. Dallas Cowboys went 12-5 last season, clinched the playoff. Under Mike McCarthy, the Cowboys remind fans of the 90s, the glory days. Dak Prescott, strong plays, echo memories of the Aikman Smith and Irvin era, yet recent challenges, including the loss to the 49ers. Jerry Jones has been proactive in bolstering the team, adding Cooks, Gilmore, and others. As for 2023, the Cowboys face challenges and opportunities. Initial matchups like the Giants, Cardinals, and Pats could give them a strong start. However, games after the Week 7 bye include ones against the reigning NFC champions. It's going to be crucial. We'll see if they can pull it off or not. Giants, 9-7-1, clinched a playoff. They're showing promise, with Daniel Jones really stepping up, but consistency is key. New recruit Darren Waller might elevate the receiving game if he stays healthy. 8-1, the Washington Commanders, who missed the playoffs, might find it challenging, particularly on offense, lacking a steady quarterback and doubts over their offensive line. The season ahead feels uncertain for them. I'm not rooting against anyone really in the NFL. So good luck. NFC North, we'll start with the Vikings. They went 13-4, clinched the division. Despite their past success, the Vikes enter this season surrounded by doubt. Close games, player exits have raised eyebrows, and Brian Flores' strategies and the remaining offensive talent, they're going to offer hope, but many factors will decide their fate. I think they're going to be right back in contention for the NFC North, and I think they're going to have to battle it out with a 9-8 last season, 9-8 Detroit Lions, who missed the playoffs. Roller coaster season 2022, gearing up for what looks to be a promising 23 campaign. They've got a unique approach to team building combined with advanced principles in nutrition and game day decision making. They closed out last season on a high, and that momentum, coupled with significant roster changes, positions them as potential contenders for the NFL playoffs in 23, something they really have not been in a very, very long time. They've got Marvin Jones Jr., Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, lots of skill. Defensively, the Lions have made concerted efforts to bolster their secondary, which is a big point of concern. Sutton, Mosley, Gardner-Johnson, all important. Brian Branch is now on the roster. Lots of depth there for the coaching staff, and it's rich with former NFL players who've got a lot of experience and insight. They've got both coordinators back. They've added Dre Bly. Lots of different things going on back there. Looking ahead to this season, the Lions depth chart showcases that mix, that balance of seasoned veterans and promising young talent. Jared Goff at the helm, supported by a revamped skilled group, a whole new look in the quarterback room. It feels like the Lions' year might finally actually be here. I feel like I've been saying that for a decade, though, so no hopes. But if it's going to be a year, I'm thinking it's this one. Green Bay Packers went 8-9, missed the playoffs because of the Detroit Lions. They are navigating past the Aaron Rodgers era, transition that's not easy. A lot is going to hinge on Jordan Love and his performance, and he can tap into the potential that made him a first-round pick. The Packers could be right back in contention, but this is a tougher division than usual. Their defense, some notable playmakers offering some hope to the Packers. We'll see how it all shakes out. Chicago Bears went 3-14, way shy of the playoffs. Despite their challenges last season, they're eyeing improvement and hopeful for a revival. Key upgrades on the O-line aim to give Fields more time, more support. The Bears' defense always has been their strength. It remains solid, particularly with their linebackers, and they're showing promise, but translating potential to on-field success is quite challenging in the NFL, especially in that NFC North this season. Moving to the NFC South, we'll start with the Tampa Bay Bucks. They went 8-9, clinched the division. It's a post-Tom Brady world. Bruce Arians is known for his offensive acumen, and how he adjusts will be keenly watched. The defense, which was pivotal in their Super Bowl win, remains intact and could be the stabilizing factor in this upcoming season. 7-10, Carolina Panthers missed the playoff. Bryce Young taking the reins. The Panthers might surprise a lot of people. With dynamic talent, Young's success at Bama offers hope for a franchise in need of a spark. If he settles in quickly and adapts to the NFL, they could challenge for the division title. The defense remains a strength and could support the young offense through its growing pains. 7-10, also missing the playoffs. New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr is now leading the charge, and the Saints are hopeful for a resurgence in their roster. Boast talents like Olave, Kamara, and potentially a rejuvenated Michael Thomas. And their strong defense, anchored by Cam Jordan, gives them a balanced team. The synergy between Carr and head coach Sean Payton will be pivotal as they look to return to their dominant form. Atlanta Falcons at 7-10. All three of those teams going 7-10. They also missed the playoffs. Robinson and the Falcons emerge as a team to watch. Desmond Ritter's growth going to be a huge hinge point. Jesse Bates' addition bolsters a defense seeking identity. The blend of youth and experience presents a unique dynamic, making the Falcons kind of the wild card in that division. Moving now to the NFC West and starting with the 13-4 division clinching San Francisco 49ers. Even with the quarterback concerns, they've got Super Bowl ambitions fortified by their roster depth and Coach Shanahan's tactical prowess. McCaffrey, Kittle, and Samuel, the backbone of an explosive offense. Brock Purdy's recovery has been keenly watched, and his form can dictate their postseason fate. Bosa and Warner, the guys to watch on defense. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes together if they can repeat that success and make a push for the Super Bowl. Seattle Seahawks 9-8 clinched a playoff spot last season. Hot on the 49ers' heels, they remain contenders for the NFC West title. Geno Smith and Drew Lock making up the arm talent. DK Metcalf adding dynamism. Pete Carroll's experience and the 12th man advantage could make Seattle a formidable opponent for the playoffs. It's hard to call it at this point. LA Rams went 5-12, missed the playoffs following their Super Bowl triumph. They faced the challenge of sustaining success, but they've got guys like Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey staying there. Depth concerns are very evident, though. So Sean McVay's coaching acumen will be tested as the team navigates. We'll see if he can pull it out. 4-13 Arizona Cardinals. They're back this season. They stand at a really weird juncture. Kyler Murray's brilliance is offering them some hope, but consistency has eluded them. This season coming up will define their future. It'll shape their future. Coach Gannon seeking the right formula. Team's depth is going to determine their narrative for 2023. And that's it. I have a miscellaneous segment prepared, but I'm going to save it for next week. So tune in next week to hear some crazy stuff with me. I'm gonna predict some Division III, NAIA Division II school seasons, including Adrian College, Reinhardt University, Point University, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, Shorter's in here, Morehouse College, and West Georgia, the Wolves. Clark Atlanta's in there. So we'll hear the season predictions for some of those teams, how I got them, and more next week on this podcast, the Win Big Sports Talk and Sports Betting Podcast. Thanks for tuning in for another edition of the pod and being with me. I'm Gabriel Schrei. I really appreciate it. Be sure to follow us wherever you most like to use social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at WBSN Sports. I'll be back next week. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.
Felt this free, like I am you and you are